learns
Abu
about.
learns. Yeah.
Abu learns
Abu
learns
learns about.
about Buddhism.
Yeah. Should be now live on YouTube and on Twitch.
Yes, sir.
Let's go. All right. So, hello guys. This is again me, Frank, joined again by the good friend here, Abu, star of the show today. And yeah, I had a bit of a topic for today.
Okay.
So I wanted to talk about one of the monks of the Buddha. So it's sort of related to what we talked about yesterday, because this monk was a special monk. Because before he became a monk,
Mhm.
he was very famous within like India as a serial killer.
Oh,
So he was the most famous serial killer in India, having killed 999 people.
okay.
So the king actually set out with an army in order to capture the serial killer, because even when he sent out like just soldier armies, he would just like decimate them with guerrilla warfare.
Oh,
And yeah, so the Buddha actually managed to sort of like convert this serial killer and make him give up all of his killing and stealing, etc. And when the king then sort of approached the Buddha to get like some blessings for capturing this um, the serial killer, and also like sort of bidding farewell, because he was like unsure whether even with his army he would be able to stop him and would return alive. The Buddha actually said like, "Oh, what would you do if like this Angulimala, this very dangerous serial killer, would become a monk?" They would say like, "Oh, then I would like take care of him, and like if you like actually managed to do that and he renounced all violence, then um, I would take care of him." And he's just like, "Oh yeah, but this guy over here, this is Angulimala. This is the
whoa.
most famous serial killer of India." And he was like just completely shocked, the king, um, in complete panic. But he sort of like uh, grasped himself again, and yeah, he then allowed the serial killer to stay with the monks, like as long as sort of the Buddha takes responsibility for him, right? So that he
No more killing.
exactly, like as long as the Buddha can guarantee that he will do no more killing, then okay, that's fine. He will no longer like torture and execute him or whatever he had like plans for him. And so this is quite interesting, because this guy, he had like killed 999 people, right? At least that's the tradition that
Okay.
it says. And still within his lifetime, he managed to completely to get like the complete enlightenment. So I find that very inspiring, in the sense that
Like
it means
repentance.
that exactly, so that means like repentance is actually possible. So it is possible that no matter what you have done, not exactly no matter, but like basically no matter what you would do, right? The repentance is still possible, and it's still possible to turn your life around, to still lead a life of goodness and really focus on that and really accomplish a lot within that, and not like be caught up with it. There are actually also some famous monks in Germany right now who also like have been to war, etc. Like maybe in the Iraq War and other wars,
Okay.
and who like sort of still share their trauma of that time, and they try to use it for goodness, and try to really help people realize the dangers that come with it, with war, etc., and everything that comes with it. And so yeah.
This sounds very nice. This sounds very nice because it also fits into my paradigm of what I have seen Buddhism to be.
Hmm.
Buddhism, how it has sounded to me, it sounds like a place where whether you're a sinner, bad person, Papa, can go and be judged on a fair basis as long as you come with pure intentions. Because I remember last time you said even when you were at the monastery, you had all types of people there from higher ends of society. You said you even had people who had monasteries built for
Yeah.
them so that they could meditate in,
Yeah.
yeah, in solace. But the first thing that comes to my mind is this: like, if I came as the serial killer
Hmm.
to the monastery, is I know in Christianity there is like the Catholics have confession,
Hmm.
so you have to confess your sin for you to be forgiven. Uh, then there is yeah, there are a few processes you have to go, repentance and the like. Is there a sort of is there also a form of uh, how would the serial killer be received? Is there certain things the Buddha would ask for him?
So there are like two things to keep in mind. So one is that this story is like sort of special because this was like specifically the Buddha ordaining like this serial killer, and
Okay.
he actually has forbidden the monks to ordain other people who are like sort of hunted or criminals or something, as long as they did not do sort of their worldly punishment or
Hmm.
something, right? So it just the monastery should not be like a like escape place where criminals gather,
Oh,
right? So
oh.
that's something that he like wanted to prevent from happening, right? Like a like robber's den or something where
Hmm.
like people
Hmm.
can just come and like stay and like be safe from persecution.
Persecution.
Right? So people just like run away to avoid responsibility, right? So that's something that he actively wanted to avoid. And the second thing that you've talked about, which is also like quite central to Buddhism, is like this confession, or more like we talk about it like asking for forgiveness,
Okay.
right? So we say that it is, especially among monks, this is like a very central part of their training, where like every 2 weeks they come together, like the community of monks comes together within a region,
Yeah.
and together they recite the training rules of what they have taken up, like the 227 rules,
Hmm.
like, oh, I will not kill, I will not have sex, I will not do
You
these
said
things.
227.
227
Okay.
exactly. And the monks are supposed, if they have done something within these 2 weeks
Okay.
that goes against these rules, they're supposed to confess it to another monk,
Mm.
to go to a more senior monk and then like bow down to them and say like, oh, Mr. Monk, I have transgressed against the rules, this and this I have done, please forgive me. And then the other monk might also say like, oh yes, I have also transgressed in this way, please also forgive me,
Oh.
and we will restrain ourselves in the future so that in the future we will not do such again, right?
Oh. It's if I came to you as my senior thing
Yes.
and I came and confessed, forgive me as I thought lustfully over a woman that I saw these
Yes.
past days. You mentioning something that you've done as well. Is it also a form of leveling out
Yeah,
or feeling
exactly.
make me feel less judged?
Exactly. It's like
Okay.
also like about like, oh, whatever I have done, because it's not just sometimes we might have done something but we don't remember it or we were not conscious of it. So even when you think you have done nothing wrong, still in this situation you ask for forgiveness for anything you have done consciously or unconsciously,
Okay.
like either towards this person or in general against the rules.
Okay.
So yes, in this sense, it's very much like, although like the more junior monk usually goes to the senior monk also asks forgiveness from the junior monk. So this is like explicitly done so that the hierarchy does not become like too imbalanced, right? So like, and
And
also so the senior monk has a chance to ask for forgiveness because this is a very important step. Um, I've talked about this before, that like realizing you have done a like realizing whether you have done something bad or you've done something good
okay.
is more important actually than doing the good thing or doing the bad thing in a way, right?
Okay.
Like of course you want to uh, it's important to also do the good things and not
Yes.
do the bad things. But the not if you have no awareness of what is good and what is bad, and you're sort of just doing it by random or by tradition or something, um, then you are not then don't have a chance to actually develop it, right?
Okay.
If you
Yeah.
don't know what is the path forward, then you can't develop it, and you just sort of stay stuck, or you might go down, you know.
Is this something that's done daily at the monastery? In the monastery?
So you can ask for forgiveness daily, yes. Although people usually do it either like at these points, like every 2 weeks,
Okay.
or in between if they have like done something which is like on their conscious and they like want to get it like off their chest, and they might go to some monk and confess it, ask for forgiveness.
Okay. And what was the name of this Buddha?
This monk
The monk,
was
sorry.
he was named Angulimala, and the name actually means like a garland of fingers.
A garland of fingers.
Yes, so he has collected a finger of his like victims.
Victims. Okay.
Yeah, so he's collected a finger. So the story goes like this: that he had a master, and this master, he was like a very good devout student of this master, but he would like do anything for him, and he was like among the school known to be like the next successor of the school.
Okay.
So the other students were jealous of him, so they set him up and spread like bad rumors about him. And then the teacher heard about these rumors and started believing them, and so he set out like this impossible task for his student to do. Like, oh, bring me like 1,000 fingers, and if you do that, you will gain the power to revive the dead, and you will be able to like do this and that things, you know. And
And you say the Buddha met him when he had how many kills? You said
900,
900.
999.
99. Okay.
And he
Okay.
was about to kill his
The last.
exactly. And
Okay.
apparently it was supposed to be like his mother. And if he would have killed his mother or father, then actually enlightenment is no longer possible, at least in this life, right?
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
there is a limit
There is a
then.
limit to
Okay.
this in this sense, yes.
Okay.
So killing father or mother is like the hard line where enlightenment is no longer possible in this life. You can still practice and it will be like helpful for the next life. So maybe like you will still go to hell probably next life, but the life after that you might get enlightenment. Quickly.
Okay. Is that one of the only ones, or does this also come
There are five things.
there?
So there are
Okay.
the killing of a mother, killing of your father, the killing of a perfectly enlightened being, so perfectly enlightened monk or nun, the injury of a Buddha, right? So to the degree that they bleed, and to split the monk community, right? To purposefully try to divide the monk community and spread disharmony to such a degree that they would no longer like talk to each other.
Well,
So like these are sort of like the five, you might say like heavy sins or something.
and not to get too political and the like, but I've seen some monks displaced, I think, in Nepal
Hmm.
and the like. So that is also a sin. That is also a sin that is
What do you mean with
they were
displaced?
displaced. The thing based on homes. They had they had a home. They had moved their monastery. I think that was more, I think, to do with the. Anyway, let's stay away from
It's
politics. That's more, I think, the Chinese government. But
No,
yeah,
it's more about sort of like spreading like more like ideology within the monk community or something to such a
okay,
degree that even if you are
ego.
in the same place, the monks would no longer sort of like be harmonious with each other and they would no longer do, for example, this confession with each other,
Yes.
right? So you would say like, oh, these monks, they are not real Buddhist monks. They are like,
Okay.
I will not do my confession with them, for example.
Okay.
This
Okay.
is what
Okay.
is meant with splitting the monk community, not with, oh, some monks are like forcibly
Okay.
replaced to some other place. Like that's of course also very bad, but
Mm-hmm.
that means a little bit something different.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. So where was this? Where did this take place for the same that the mentioned Buddha?
So that's like in North India mainly, like Northeast India
Okay.
is like where most of it takes place. Like
Okay.
for many of the teachings, we actually know like the place. It's like always remembered along with it. And
Okay.
yeah, so some of it also takes place in more like of the northwest, and we
Okay.
also have like legends about the Buddha going to other places which later became Buddhist, but these are like more late legends that probably came later on.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah,
Okay. And you said his name was
Angulimala.
Angulimala,
Yeah,
the
Anguli means the
fingers,
fingers
the garland.
exactly, and the other one means like the garland. And so he actually set out to like fulfill this impossible request of his teacher, which is also like a very uh, like good teaching moment because you might think like, oh, he's like a good student. He
Yeah.
wants to fulfill what his teacher has in mind for him, you know. But if the teacher doesn't have the good thing in mind, or even if he would have done, but
The
it's
intention,
like not,
yes.
it's not like proper. It's not wise to do the thing. You are still responsible for what you do. Like for the killing that he did. Although he managed to become enlightened in this life, he still very much had to like pay like sort of his karmic debt, quote unquote. But his whenever he went to the village, he would get attacked, like he would get beaten, he would often not get any food. There are like stories about him, like people throwing stones at him so that his skull would crack, or that he would like get beaten with sticks, that his bones would break,
Oh,
and yeah, so it was like pretty tough. And this is like just a physical punishment. Of course, mentally also with him, like realizing what he himself had done.
okay.
Um, there must have been a lot of like mental anguish that comes with it. Like, oh man, like I've destroyed like all these families, and I thought
Yeah.
like after I get like this magic power, I will be able to revive them, and this is why I have killed them, right? So that after I kill them, like everything will be fine afterwards. So in a way it's like a little bit maybe how we see it like nowadays where people for religion think like, oh yes, like maybe I kill now people, but it's actually fine because
Yeah.
some religious authority told me that it's like okay or good to do these things, and actually is even in the benefit of like these other people that I'm killing, right?
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. I'm also interested to know. I'm interested to know about your journey through.
My
So
journey.
your journey through what led you to get to what gave you the interest to want to go to Thailand per se,
Thailand.
and yeah, how did you start? How would one say I was interested to also visit the monastery monk, the
Mm-hmm.
monastery there, the monks, and spend some time with them and per se.
Yes.
Yeah, is this something that is just warranted for anyone as long as you have interest, or there's certain procedures you would have to go through about it?
So it depends a little bit. So what you want to do. So
Hmm.
usually visiting is usually no problem,
Okay.
where you can like just come and visit.
Okay.
If you want to stay at the monastery, if it's not for a long time, usually that's also possible,
Okay.
where you just message them and say like, oh, I want to stay like for a few days, and if you message them like some weeks in advance, it's usually no problem.
Okay.
If you actually want to stay for a longer time, usually they want to see like some commitment in the sense whether you have like already know a little bit something about Buddhism,
Okay.
or like why do you want to go there, right? They might like ask
With
some
the right
some
intention.
questions about this,
Okay.
right? Just to check it out. And um, yeah, so there are like some monasteries that are like pretty famous. So
Okay.
like there's like Wat Son Mok, there's like some other monasteries, um, which are just famous also for non-Thai people to go to, where you can talk in English,
Oh.
and there are like people there who you can talk to, often like also people from like Western countries or something, right? So it's not just like Thai people who can speak English, which is also good, but it's also good if you have like foreigners who are in there and with whom like you can relate on a like maybe more cultural level as well. Then there are, if you like actually want to ordain, or you want to, let's say, so how I ended up there is I just wanted to do like a long meditation retreat, right? So I noticed like, oh, I want to like clear my mind, I want to like become
Yeah.
more peaceful, and that this practice that I'm doing is like sort of the best thing that I can do with my life, that this
Hmm.
is like really what this is all about. And so I just messaged some monasteries whom I already know sort of from Germany, right?
Okay.
So one monastery I knew, they had like a meditation group close to Frankfurt, so that's where I already knew like their meditation style, and that it like really suited me.
Okay.
There I spent like 3 weeks.
Meditation style.
Yeah, they're like different meditation styles.
Okay.
So like some people are very much focused on just keeping your breath, just keeping the focus on the breath and just like noticing the breath. And others are focused on always knowing what's going on in your mind right now, right? So
Okay.
no matter what is going on in your mind, you always know it, right? Oh, now there's like focus on the body, now it's like focus on your feelings, now it's like I'm sleepy, now it's like I'm seeing, now I'm hearing, and like you can, there's different things on which you can sort of investigate, right? And so that's more like investigative, inquisitive, whilst the other thing is more like gathering the mind at one point.
I've heard about another one where you're left, you put in a room, a dark room.
Mm-hmm.
Also, is that also around Buddhism? where you're
Um,
put in a dark room so you can hear yourself from the inside. You're just dark, quiet room. Or there's they say silence. There's a silence like retreats and
yeah, there are
as
silent
well.
retreats. Yeah, yeah. So this is um, usually combined with these meditation methods. So
Okay.
this is like quite common. The specific darkness part is I know that more from Taoism. So I know that they do it
Oh,
there.
okay.
Um, but also Tibetan Buddhism also do it. Like they meditate in caves often.
Okay.
So
Okay.
they go into some Himalayan caves and there they meditate for like a few years. And
Okay.
yeah, so
Okay.
there are things like this.
So, off the top of your head, what would you say the silence retreats are
Hmm.
about? Because I also have a couple of friends back home in Africa who put down to say, yeah, they find the power in also just uh, putting yourself in a quiet room for some time and yeah,
Yeah,
hearing yourself from the inside. Yeah,
exactly.
something I've never tried, but I found that interesting.
Yeah, it's very powerful because it shows you the difference between your thoughts and your speech. This is one of the things that you can realize there. Like usually when we are, especially when we're talking, we don't realize that there's like a difference between what we are thinking and what we're saying, right? Like they are not separate, but they are also not the same. But we experience them as exactly the same thing, right? So you cannot usually say like, oh, like these are my thoughts and this is what I'm saying. Like usually there's it's just like one thing.
Oh,
But if you're like actually quiet down, you can see the separation of these two things.
oh, whoa, okay. So I could be in a conversation with you
Yes.
right now like this,
Yes.
but what I think I'm also trying to bring out in this is could not also be differ from what I have in my head as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, exactly. You
You
would see
understand?
like this, how they are related, right? Because they're also
Yeah.
not separate, right? Like
Uh-huh.
you cannot say something that's like completely separate from what you're
Yeah.
thinking about. But at the same time, your thoughts are not your speech.
Exactly. Okay.
So this can help you sort of also figure out like, oh, how can I see like where what are actually intentions, right? And how do
Mm.
intentions relate to my actions, right? Because also like if I like pick up my phone,
Mhm.
like yes, okay, like there's like this bodily movement of okay, my body moves this up and down, and there's intention of moving this up and down. But how are these two things related?
Mm.
And these are things that you can sort of investigate in a retreat.
Sort of like alignment per
Yeah,
se.
yeah, you can look at it like that. But
Okay.
I look at it more like investigation. It's like
Okay.
playful a little bit, maybe also, and it has to be like sort of personal and like really seeing like okay, like what's actually going on, and being in this quietness and usually like in a situation where you don't have chance to distract yourself.
Okay.
It also amplifies all of your mental habits. So whatever mental habits you
Your
have,
your
they will
senses.
get they just explode.
Your senses as well.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
senses explode. Everything just gets
Yeah.
way more intense. So if you are a person who's like very strict, for example, right?
Okay.
Strict with themselves, strict with others, you will notice that on retreat. You will notice like, oh, you're like meditating in a group together and someone coughs maybe, and you're like immediately not like, oh, they should not be coughing here. They should like, I don't know, right? Even more maybe, usually it might be like not a problem, but just because the mind is like more contained, it like
You can
breaks
realize your
out.
icks more.
Yeah, yeah, you it like everything gets amplified is how I see it. Or some
You personally, when you went cycling on the streets, like what random, you don't always have to say, or like
Mhm.
what random like icks did you realize that you had that you did not know, for example?
Mm, I mean, there are things that I would sort of like consciously realize.
Yeah.
So they would be things like realizing that I often when for example I'm watching a movie, how I
Mhm.
often used to like overlap seeing and hearing, right? So I think
Okay.
that it's like just one thing, like I'm just looking at the movie
Yeah.
and I'm seeing the picture and I'm hearing the sounds and I think they are the same thing, right? I'm seeing a person speaking on the screen
Yeah.
and I'm thinking like, oh, this thing that I'm seeing is speaking,
Yeah.
but actually it's like two different things. So there's like loudspeakers that make the sound and there's like things that I see with my eyes.
Okay.
They're not the same thing, but my brain makes them into like one thing, you know. And in the same way, this happens like all the time, actually.
in like conversations as well with
Exactly.
people.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
But these are like two different sort of channels, and you can like sort of get a better feel of these two channels, for example, but separating them a little bit out, and like getting a better sense of what is actually going on in your experience. And then you can also have like some like interesting experiences. Like for example, I was doing one meditation retreat where they cut our sleeping time. So we were like sleeping like really like 4 hours a day or so,
okay, okay.
and but like meditating all day. And so I was meditating like in the morning. I think it was in the morning, and so it was like very sleepy. I could like barely walk. I felt like very drunk, like just step and then like
Mm-hmm.
going here because it was like several days of sleep deprivation. And I was just thinking in my mind, oh, okay, sleepiness, sleepiness.
Mm-hmm.
There's sleepiness. I was doing that for like maybe 5 minutes. And then at some point, I'm like, okay, now there's sleepiness there. And then suddenly, the sleepiness from like 1 second to another was completely gone. Like, really, I was like fully awake. And I was like, what just happened? Like, I could not stand properly. Like, that's how sleepy I was. And now I can like fully awake. I can just like walk and I know exactly what's going on.
What was attributed to that?
I don't know. But that's sort of these sort of things can happen,
Yeah,
and feel like always like watching out, and you're like
yeah.
clearing your mind and like staying mindful, and then
Okay.